You walk into the conference room and your newest summer interns are talking about the latest Slack app. John is sitting there so excited that this app is going to help him create a bigger impact on society, where Sally is sitting there so entranced in her phone she can't even look up to talk. Packer is sitting there thinking, why am I even here right now? All I want to do is go home and adventure. You finally ask your interns the question you've been waiting for the entire time, which is, what is the Slack app? All three of them stop and look at you in complete disgust. You have just realized that you have lost so many cool points with your interns because you had no idea what they were talking about. But you finally look back and think more about how the gap between your generation and their own has gotten so large and why this is. Hi, my name is Bettina Meski, and today my team and I are going to talk to you about why your company is struggling to retain younger generations in the workforce. Although your company does a great job with tailoring to these younger generations by providing flexible work hours, being able to work from home, and being able to wear comfortable clothes when you're not talking to clients, for some reason you're still struggling to retain these younger generations. So we believe you can fix this through a revised mentorship program. First, Javi Schelling is going to talk to you guys about the external communication barriers. Then Abby Hank's going to come in and talk to you guys about your internal communication barriers, as well as Livy Wheeler and I are going to come in and talk to you guys about what the mentorship program is and how to implement it. Then Emmy Georges is going to give you a little bit of the benefits and cons of this idea. We're going to come in with Abby and give you a budget, and then we'll start with some Q&A. But with the technological gap between generations getting so big, Javi's going to tell you why this is.
Javi's going to wait for 1 second while we video him.
Go ahead. According to the University of Notre Dame, each generation has a different way to connect with each other. This is where the communication barriers come in. Millennials are all into text messaging and social networks, like LinkedIn and Handshake. And as you guys being part of Crow, I know you guys are very familiar with how LinkedIn works. LinkedIn is a great way for millennials to go on, see who's hiring and what they have to offer. Same as employers. Employers can go on, see the future employees and see if their criteria meets theirs. Then there's Generation X. Generation X likes to communicate through email, which is where the barrier comes in for millennials. My boss always communicates with me through email, tells us how many check-ins there is, tells us what events are going on in the hotel. And I never know what he's talking about because I don't check the emails. The only reason I check my emails is really to see when my package from Amazon is coming in. Then there's the baby boomers. The baby boomers prefer to meet with you one-on-one. They like that connection. They feel like it's better for them to get to know you better. After giving you guys a little information about the different communicational barriers, I'm going to give you a little insight about what each generation values. Millennials. Us being millennials, we all know what we value. We're all goal-oriented and team players. We're always looking for new and better opportunities because we're sick and tired of the same routine, which is why we're always looking for new and different jobs, which is why we can only last 2 to 3 years. Not only that, we always seek self-validation from our employers. And other than that, we uphold a great fairness and good work ethic in the workplace. Generation X. Generation X, unlike millennials, are very independent. They like to do things on their own and to get work done. They view change as a vehicle of opportunity of change. Generation X has that they want that flexible work schedule and have that work-life balance to maintain their life outside of work. And other than that, instead of being goal-oriented, they're result-oriented and very entrepreneurial. Baby boomers. According to Forbes, baby boomers hold the largest generation to date, or the largest generation to date. Baby boomers are reserved and conservative. So unlike millennials, you need to, when you meet with them, you have to make sure you're in a suit and a tie. Baby boomers are very committed to the workplace. They're usually in the same job for 20, 30 years, unlike millennials where we jump from workplace to workplace. Baby boomers hold a very strong work ethic and are very team-oriented, just like millennials. After giving you guys a little insight about the different communicational barriers that each generation holds and the different generation values, I'm now going to hand you over to Abby, who's going to talk about the internal problems going on in Crow.
After extensive research, we've come to the conclusion that the current mentorship program is not effective at retaining employees, especially the younger ones, and keeping them happy. We've identified some of the barriers here. To begin, you're missing that interpersonal connection between the mentee and the mentor. According to Forbes, One of the most important factors for keeping someone happy at the workplace is having an interpersonal connection with at least one other person on staff. It's no surprise that people enjoy liking their colleagues. This also creates a problem when a younger employee may want to leave the company. They have no one to air their grievances with the company before they leave. Next, there's a lack of growth opportunities within the company. Networking is extremely important to the younger generations, and by having such an independently operated mentorship program currently, it's a lack of an opportunity for growth and connections throughout the whole company instead of just with your mentor. Next, there's a poor structural system. We know that every match cannot be picture perfect. However, currently there's no system in place to change mentors if you're unhappy with your current partnership. As Javi just mentioned, there's several communication barriers within the generations. This is not being addressed within the mentorship program, so we're fighting an uphill battle with these communication barriers. And finally, there's a lack of excitement for the mentorship program. We want this to be seen as a benefit for working for Crow, not simply another task or duty that you have to do at your job. By creating an exciting mentorship program, it will create overall excitement at the job and keep people happier longer. Now, Bettina's going to talk about some of the different programs and opportunities we have to find a solution to these barriers.
A revised mentorship program, or as you could call it, the Career Peer Program 2.0. We're going to take everything wrong with your current Career Peer Program, take it out, and tailor it more towards these younger generations. So think of it like an umbrella. We have our revised mentorship program, and then all of those things that are going to go inside the revised mentorship program to fix it. One, we're going to do lunches and networking events to create those interpersonal relationships between younger generations and older, as well as we're going to have check-ins with mentors, mentees, and directors to give those feedback to those younger generations that they are all craving for. As well as we're going to create better relationship matches between mentors and mentees by doing a personality exam that you guys already have in place and using those to match them up. But now that I've talked to you guys a little bit about what our program is, Libby's going to tell you guys a little bit more in depth about things as well as how to implement it.
So our first solution and the first change we would like to implement to your current program is to create better matches between mentors and mentees and overall improve the process structure. To do this, we are going to use the personality assessments that you take as a Crow employee and use those for the better, since they're not really used at this current point. Dr. Catherine Klein, she is the head of the psychology department at the University of Maryland, and she did a study that found that the leader-follower personality fit had a very high impact on overall follower satisfaction, motivation, as well as organizational commitment. We think this is a huge data point, and we want to make sure that we create those personality fits between mentors and mentees so that the mentees want to stay at your company and also they're loving where they are at and they're having those connections with their mentor. Secondly, we are going to improve the overall program process by adding a yearly review of the mentor-mentee pairs. At the end of the year, the mentor and mentee will sit down and talk about if it's going well, if they like their relationship, and if so, that's great, they can continue to build those relationships, but if not, we will offer them new mentor-mentee pairs. Next, we are going to implement program lunches. These lunches will bring a little bit of excitement to the table and also create a less formal space where mentors and mentees can talk, get to know each other, and build those personal relationships. As you can see from this graph, the current generation finds meaning from being around their coworkers and also developing relationships with them. These lunches will provide that to the younger generations as well as the older generations. It will also break down that barrier that your company is currently struggling with the communication gap. By creating a space where everyone can talk and get to know each other, we are hoping that will do so. Thirdly, we are going to implement networking events. These networking events will attack the current younger generation that wants to have that ability to grow and to find leadership opportunities. These networking events will be put on about 5 or 6 times a year, and they will be an opportunity for pairs of mentor and mentees to talk to other pairs of mentor and mentees. This way, mentees can get to know other sections and departments of the company, as well as talk to other higher-ups within the company other than their mentor. Finally, we are going to implement check-ins. These check-ins will happen about quarterly throughout the whole program. The check-ins will give an opportunity for younger mentees to give upward feedback into the company, tell us what we're doing well, what we could do better, and also give us feedback on maybe why they want to leave or why they would love to stay. These check-ins will also give an opportunity for mentors to give downwards feedback to their mentees, tell them what they're doing well, give them some coaching, and maybe some other opportunities for growth. These are both generational values of both of the generations. The younger generations really want to have that feedback, and they want those opportunities to grow, as well as the older generations want to show their knowledge and prove that they can be great mentors. Now that I've told you about all of our amazing solutions that we have for your company, I'm going to hand it off to Emmy, who's going to tell you about our solutions and how they have been implemented at other companies, as well as some risks that are associated with them as well.
How many of you know all of the companies up here? Yeah, so obviously they're very successful and very popular, but they also have another thing in common. Both TogetherPlatform.com and Investopedia ranked these 4 companies as the companies with the most successful mentoring programs. And this is shown in their ranking is shown in the size of the logo, with GE being number 1. These programs have elements such as questionnaires to make the pairs more personable, and also take a company-wide growth focus, which are both elements that we chose to include in our own proposal due to their evident success. There's a lot of research done about the benefits of mentorship programs in general, and the University of the People lists some of these benefits as are shown up here. So with this program, there is the opportunity for reverse mentoring, which is where the mentee and the mentor can learn from each other, which directly relates to our previous barrier, as Javi stated, of communication between generations. There's also the potential for career development, and when employees feel like they can grow in the company, this mends the employee drop-off rates between the senior manager positions and the director, which we noticed while evaluating Crow. All of these benefits together, in conjunction with one another, can create an atmosphere that will keep employees at Crow through partner and director positions. Of course, when implementing any type of program, there's of course going to be some risks. And for us, our mentorship program, since it's so dependent on interpersonal relations, one of our main risks is low employee involvement. To mitigate this, we propose requiring the program for employees. Another potential concern is a lack of excitement for the networking events, but receiving feedback and adjusting the food, times, location, etc. can help relieve this concern and manage the excitement levels. Now that I've discussed the ample benefits and the potential concerns, Abby's going to finish up with talking about the budget.
Our budget plan is fairly simple. We've decided to implement half towards the networking event and half to the lunches. As you know, adaptation is extremely important in any business, and therefore if we see that one of the events is going better and helping us meet our goals sooner, we will devote more of the budget towards that. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. We are really excited about these ideas and think that they can have a big impact on Crow. I implore you all, the next time you're at work, to try to interact with someone of a different generation. Maybe you'll learn something new and we'll all be better for it. We've listed our contact information up here if you'd like to get in touch with us afterwards, but now we'd like to start a Q&A. Thank you.
Nice. Okay, great.
You want me to record the Q&A?
No, I don't think so.
Was it just for
Let me
Javi?
help you. No.
Because I recorded everyone.
No, I'm glad you did.
It's just for Javi.
Before
I
we
hope
start
not,
Q&A,
man.
good job just to make sure that we record everyone using their phone.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna triple back up. Okay.
Yeah.
Q&A, yes, what are your questions?
So during the Crow interview, they presented 3 reasons to why employees are leaving. What do you think you guys can prevent to help those 3 reasons, which were work-life balance and career opportunities and travel?
I think a big thing with the mentorship program are going to be those career opportunities, especially with the networking events. I think those will be a great way for the younger generations to get to talk a little bit more with other workers in the company and get to know maybe some of the career paths they have taken and get to know other ways that they can grow within their career. And I know work-life balance is a big thing that Crow already kind of has established, so we didn't harp in on that too much, but we kind of wanted to make sure that the career path and opportunities were there with the different solutions that we have in place.
And to add to like the work-life balance, I also know that Crow lets their employees work at home, which I feel like helps a lot with stress because people can just like watch TV while they do their work. all that other stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If Crow allows you to work from home, how are you gonna like make attendance mandatory at the lunches and stuff?
So the lunches are gonna be between the mentors and mentees, and pretty much when you started this company, you'll get your mentor, and then it's up to you guys to really have those connections. So they can text you, they can tell you, let's meet at lunch, let's go to this place for an hour. Even if you work from home, they can just ask you to get lunches with them, as well as those check-ins that will be mandatory. They'll make sure that you're doing that through those.
I also think there's like a lot of incentive just in our like luncheons, because obviously as college students, you know, like food attracts people generally. So it's just making the excitement for those programs to like make them more inclined to come as well.
Kind of just bouncing off that, I know there's a lot of problems with conflicting schedules. So if you and so would part of that, I don't know, you guys have the personality test, but is part of that something that matches schedules a little bit more? Would that be something? I know there's a lot of problems with meeting.
Definitely, that's a concern, and I think the way that that would be mitigated is this is a priority, or we would hope to implement it and it'd be a priority. So, and the lunches are only quarterly, I believe, so there's significant time to make that happen.
Also, if you're finding it like very difficult to match with your partner schedule-wise, there's always the opportunity to switch yearly to a different partner that works better with your schedule.
So is the main purpose of the mentorship program to match up different generations? And if so, how do you plan to do that with there being so much greater volume of millennials at Crow as opposed to like baby boomers?
So an example of that could be, we know there's a difference in numbers, so we're going to try it as hard as we can to make sure that we do younger and older generations, as well as one older mentor could have two mentees. If you look at the Lead School of Business, for example, I'm a mentor and I have 3 mentees, and that's just because there's more of them than there are of us, so I have to take on a few more, but as a mentor, you kind of know that going in and you're prepared to take that challenge. So.
I think we'll leave it there. Wonderful. Great job. Okay.
Good job, guys.
So,
You guys did really good.
Red,
Would you
Better win.
somebody give over their phone?